Hey guys. Oh. Yeah. So, what was that, Nate?
It was the TV.
What? Did it fall? Okay.
That was the TV inside of it.
Okay, I'm gonna lower that a little bit. Are you watching it? Nate, not. Don't let your gun hit the TV, please. Okay. Okay, guys, what's up? Hey guys, what's up? It's Nicole. Welcome back to Real Talk Recovery. We talk about recovery from addiction and, you know, a little bit of other stuff. So, so I wanted to come on tonight, you guys, and I wanted to kind of get back to what we had started last weekend, which was kind of an overview of the steps. And so the last video I did was talking about step 3. So where we left off was step 3, making a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understand Him. And so we went through and we talked about how making a decision is the first step into action, making those actions or taking action and turning that key of willingness. Because I think for a lot of us, when we first started out and we were first getting sober, you know, we were kind of willing, but we weren't all the way willing. And we would do certain things, but we wouldn't take all the suggestions, or, you know, our sponsors or mentors or, you know, whatever you want to call it, our sponsors would say, you know, I need you to do 90 meetings in 90 days. And we were willing to do 70, you know. And so for me, when I finally got, you know, down to start working the steps, and me and my sponsor started getting down to, like, they say the causes and conditions of why I drank and used drugs. You know, when I started to finally realize, like, you know, I was using and drinking because I was trying to feel, well, I felt like I never was really part of, you know, I felt like I didn't fit in. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Like, when I was younger, I've always struggled with, like, low self-esteem and insecurity and body image problems, like looking at myself in the mirror and seeing like a 400-pound person, you know what I mean? Not that 400 pounds is bad, like, I mean, for me it would be, because it would be like really, really short and, you know, rolling around everywhere. But what I mean by that is, like, when I look in the mirror, I don't see what you guys see, you know what I mean? Hey Richard. So when me and my sponsor started, like, I started figuring out that I had this, like, void inside of me, a malady, you know, I struggled for many, many years, you guys, even before I started drinking and using. And when I started drinking and using as a coping mechanism for my depression and the not feeling good about it.
Hi guys.
Thank you, baby.
Wait, watch my whole face get in there for a second.
Okay, go.
Oh my.
There, go. Say
watch
hi.
My whole face get in there.
Okay, now bye-bye. Bye. Nate, bye. I literally just took... Sorry about that, you guys. Sorry, y'all. So, Nate, look at me. No, listen to me. Go watch your show. We just got back from the playground. If you guys go one video back, you can see my son playing on the playground and having a great time. He just got out of the bath time, and now it's time for Mommy to do her step study. So, I'm going to ask you one more time, son, to not come over here and touch this computer. That is your phone. You can use your phone. Here, I'll get it for you. Turn it on. So, hey, Dick. So I told you guys that we could do the step study, and that's what I wanted to do. So let me get focused. Focus, Nicole. Okay, so when I finally became willing to do the steps with my sponsor, you guys, like, I had tried for so many years to, like, do recovery my way, okay? To do what I wanted to do and not take any suggestions. Like, I would just do halfway what my sponsor would ask me. Or I would try to make the program the way I wanted to do the program. Like, oh, I can't go to meetings. I just can't be bothered, you know? Or you can take those steps and put them in somewhere else because I'm not doing them. Well, when my son got taken in July of 2015, I became willing to do whatever I had to do. And that, my son getting taken away from me was my desperation point. It made me desperate to do whatever it took. And it wasn't, Alexander, hush. It wasn't because I was like, oh, I'm desperate because I want to change. I wanted to get my son back. That was a motivation for me. And through working the steps and learning about recovery and addiction, that inspired me to want to do better. You know, having my son taken was a motivation. I needed something to pull my head out of my hiney because I had no love for me. You know, I wasn't going to get sober for me, because I hated myself. I was not happy in my life. I couldn't look at myself in the mirror, you guys. And yes, it was a wake-up call, because every time I looked at myself, I just saw pathetic. I just saw dark circles and bags and pick marks all over my face, and I was a skeleton, you guys. And getting my son taken away from me was that motivation that I needed to even try to do the steps. And the reason I want to do these overviews on my channel is because I want to inspire you guys to try the steps too. I don't want to push it on you guys. I don't want to bully you into doing it or pester you about it. But I want you guys to know that the 12 steps are a design for living. You can work the 12 steps if you're a drug addict, if you're an alcoholic, if you're a sex addict. Anybody can work the 12 steps. They can help anyone in their life. In fact, I would recommend it, because when you work through the 12 steps, it really helps you to be a better person. And that's what I've learned from doing the 12 steps, is that I've actually learned to start looking at my own behavior. I've actually started to learn acceptance, and I've learned that I can't control others, and the only thing that I can change is myself and my attitudes. And for so many years, you guys, I struggled because I was so selfish and self-seeking. That's what drug addiction is. Drug addiction is selfish and self-seeking. It's all about me, 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 and what I can get to put inside my body to make me feel differently, right? Well, if you guys aren't moms, let me just tell you, motherhood is the direct opposite of addiction. Being a mom is the opposite of being selfish. It's putting your son or your daughter before yourself. It's doing whatever you can to be of service to your child, right? And being a mom has also helped me in my recovery, and it's helped me stay sober, because it helped me to get rid of that me, me, me. And I think I just saw Nick comment something about ego. You know, I didn't know I didn't understand what ego was. I knew I had pride, but I didn't realize that my pride was because of my ego, and that my ego kept me from asking for help or reaching out, because I felt like I should be able to do this all on my own, right? And so when I finally got knocked down low enough to where I would reach out and get help, hey Julie, it was a miracle, you guys. I'm telling you, having my son taken away was a miracle, because it saved my life. And excuse me, I wouldn't be here today if it hadn't happened. So I wanted to go into step 4 with you guys, and kind of my tongue has canker sore or something on it, and it really hurts. Into action is where we're going to start out. Okay, so okay. You know what? It's hard, because whenever you're in recovery, here's the thing with pride and ego. It's so hard, Nick. It really is. And you know what? It's okay to be confident and feel good about yourself, but that's the thing. There's a difference between confidence and like cockiness. You know what I'm saying? And so all you got to do, here's what I'm telling you, working with someone else, working with somebody who's been through the steps, or like a sponsor will help. It's helped me so much to level me out, because I realize that I don't know everything, and I used to think I knew it all, and I would fight and fight and fight just to prove that I knew it all, right? And so now it's like I've grown so much, you guys, because just last year I would have went to and tore people to shreds if they did something to hurt me. And now, like, I'm turning the other cheek and rising above it. And that's a huge step in the right direction for me. So here we go. I'm going to read the 3rd step prayer, and then we're going to go into the fourth step. So here's the 3rd step prayer. It goes like this. God, I offer myself to thee, to build with me and to do with me as thy will. Relieve me of the bondage of self, that I may better do thy will. Take away my difficulties, that victory over them may bear witness to those I would help of thy power, thy love, and thy way of life. May I do thy will always. So then it says, here's where we go into step 4. Next, we launched out on a course of vigorous action. The first step of which is a personal house cleaning, which many of us had never attempted. A personal house cleaning. So we're going inside and we're getting rid of all the bad stuff inside our personal house, in us, inside our soul, inside of us. Though our decision was a vital and crucial step, 3rd step was the decision making. That was a vital and crucial step. It could have little permanent effect unless at once followed by a strenuous effort to face and to be rid of the things in ourselves which had been blocking us. Our liquor was but a symptom. So your drug of choice was just a symptom of your addiction or alcoholism, you guys. So we had to get down to causes and conditions. See? This is what I'm talking about, you guys. And when we go through, okay, just let me read this to you. This is so good. Therefore, we started upon a personal inventory. This was step 4. A business which takes no regular inventory usually goes broke. Taking a commercial inventory is a fact-finding and fact-facing process. It is an effort to discover the truth about the stock in trade. One object is to disclose damaged or unsellable goods, to get rid of them promptly and without regret. If the owner of the business is to be successful, he cannot fool himself about values. We did exactly the same thing with our lives. We took stock honestly. First, we searched out the flaws in our makeup, which caused our failure. Being convinced that self, manifested in various ways, was what had defeated us, we considered its common manifestations. So listen, you know, if you guys listen to me when I'm sharing and I'm talking, I've learned so much from this book. This is the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. And that's when I'm talking to you guys about how my addiction manifests itself in different areas of my life. Like I was talking to you guys about food, spending money with a credit card. It can manifest itself in gossip and drama and chaos. That's just another part of my addiction, rearing its ugly head. Resentment is the #1 offender. Right here, it destroys more alcoholics or addicts than anything else. From it stem all forms of spiritual disease, for we have been not only mentally and physically ill, we have been spiritually sick. When the spiritual malady is overcome, we straighten out mentally and physically. In dealing with resentments, we set them on paper. Okay, so this is where we start writing our 4th step, you guys. And I feel like so many people get scared, like, how am I going to do that? It's so easy because you don't have to write out a whole case history. Some sponsors will have you do that, but here's how they do it. They line it out for us in the book. And all you do is you make columns, okay? We listed people, institutions, or principals with whom we were angry. So you start out, you got column 1, I'm resentful at, and then you write the person's name or whatever, the person, place, institution, right? We asked ourselves, why were we angry? So first column is I'm resentful at Mr. Brown. The second column is the cause. I'm angry at Mr. Brown because he fired me from my job back in 1992. Okay? In most cases, it was found that our self-esteem, our pocketbooks, our ambitions, our personal relationships, including sex, were hurt or threatened. So we were sore. We were burned up. So in the last column, you will write, it affects my, and then you have 3 different instincts that are 5 different instincts that it can affect. Your sexual relations, your self-esteem,
Mommy?
security, or personal relationships. Okay? So instincts, sex, self-esteem, and security, financial. Okay? 3 different things that it can affect. On our grudge list, we set opposite each name our injuries. Was it our self-esteem? Oh, it's right here. Our security, our ambitions, our personal or sex relations, which had been interfered with. We were usually as definite as this example. Let me lower that. Good boy.
You're making me die.
Sorry about that, buddy. So the first column is I'm resentful at, and that's where you'll write down all the resentments that you have. Whether it's a person that you're resentful at, maybe it's a job, a place like a business. It could be anything. Your mom, your dad, your grandma, your grandpa. The second column you'll write is the cause. What that person did. What happened. And then you'll write what it affects. And like it says up here, it says self-esteem, security, or personal. Okay? Sex, security, or personal. So there's the column, so that way y'all can see right there. And I have a whole notebook with all of my resentments that I wrote down. So I'll share one with you guys if y'all want me to. So I remember when I was making my columns out, I had to write down, all the people I was resentful at. Well, a lot of people will think, oh, well, I'm going to write down all these people that made me mad, all these people that pissed me off, right? You know who the first person on my resentment list was? Me. I think that's the person that I haven't forgiven still. It's myself. I'm so angry with myself because I made all these choices and I hurt my son, I hurt my parents, I hurt my sister, I hurt my dad, and so I have carried that like guilt and resentment and that shame against myself for the longest time. Hey, Weston. And so I'm still really trying to work on forgiving me, you guys. Out of all the resentment people I had on my resentment list, you guys, I have made amends to all them. Even the people, because what you do, even the people that I thought that I would not make amends to, right? I have made amends. But myself has been the hardest thing. Forgiving myself has been, I struggle. It's so hard to forgive myself. I'm really hard on myself. I look back at all the life that I missed out on, all the opportunities that I screwed off because I was high, and it's so hard. But that's what this program is for. It's for me to work on letting go of those things, because that resentment that I have against myself and others, it's only going to keep me sick. And this is what step 4 is for. It's for us to let go. It's so I can put all these things down on paper share it with somebody else, and then they can say, you know what? I've been there too. It's not that bad, see? We went back through our lives. Nothing counted but thoroughness and honesty. When we were finished, we considered it carefully. The first thing apparent was that this world and its people were often quite wrong. To conclude that others were wrong was as far as most of us ever got. The usual outcome was that people continued to wrong us and we stayed sore. Sometimes it was remorse, and then we were sore at ourselves. See? But the more we fought and tried to have our own way, the worse matters got. As in war, the victor only seemed to win. Our moments of triumph were short-lived. It is plain that a life which includes deep resentment leads only to futility and unhappiness. To the precise extent that we permit these, do we squander the hours that might have been worthwhile. So, like, holding that resentment, whether it be towards your mom or dad, whether it be towards someone that molested you when you were a young child, maybe you were beaten, maybe you were raped, maybe you had a man that treated you horrible in a relationship and gaslighted you and abused you mentally and emotionally. Holding that resentment is only going to cause you unhappiness and your life to be miserable. That person that you're resentful at, they're living their life. They have moved on. So the forgiveness, the letting go is not for them. It's for us, so we can get free. And that's what step 4 helps us to do. By putting this all on paper, then we'll shift over into step 5 and 6. And that's when you get to get it all out and get free and share that. But with the alcoholic, whose hope is the maintenance and growth of a spiritual experience, this business of resentment is infinitely grave. Grave, y'all. Deadly. We found that it is fatal. For when harboring such feelings, we shut ourselves off from the sunlight of the Spirit. The insanity of alcohol returns and we will drink again. So when we hold those resentments, whether it's towards another YouTuber for wronging us, or one of our friends who hurt us, or our husband because he cheated on us, or our best friend for stabbing us in the back, holding that resentment, it keeps us from being able to connect with the sunlight of the Spirit, with our higher power, with God. And then the insanity will ensue. And we will be so miserable that we will search for relief. And what do we search for when we're looking for relief? The dope, the alcohol, the pills. And with us to drink is to die. With us to relapse is to die. And that's why I'm so serious, you guys, about my recovery and about relapsing. Because for me to relapse is to die. And I want you guys to start looking at it like that too. Relapsing is death. And we can't do that, y'all. We have to be serious, and we have to get these resentments out, get them on paper, and move forward. Right, but those who screwed me, I won't ever get on a personal level with unless they admit their wrongs. Nor will I start that convo, but I will carry on a business relationship. If we were... But, you don't have to be friends with them, Nick. But do you see what I'm saying? Like... You're not going to carry resentment in your heart for them because that's only going to keep you sick. You can move on from it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't mean that you have to be best friends with them, but just forgive them. You know what I mean? And it takes a little bit. Listen, my friend who I used to get high with is the girl who called DHS on me. And my son got taken. And she was an active drug addict when she called DHS on me, you guys. And so for her to call DHS on me and turn me in for being an active drug addict was like the pot calling the kettle black. And I didn't think I could ever forgive her. And 2 years later, I saw her in a grocery store. And I got chill bumps all over my body. And I walked up to her and I told her, I forgive you. And it felt so freaking good. You know, and I was like, today, now I can see that God, that everything that happened, it happened because it had to happen that way. And God was intervening in my life, you guys. And look at this. I'm sitting here studying step 4 with you guys on YouTube with my angel sitting right beside me. This is a miracle, you guys. I would have never thought about coming on and trying to help anybody with anything 3.5 years ago. If we were to live, we had to be free of anger. The grouch and the brainstorm were not for us. They may be the dubious luxury of normal men, but for alcoholics, these things are poison. We turned back to the list, for it held the key to the future. We were prepared to look at it from an entirely different angle. We began to see that the world and its people really dominated us. In that state, the wrongdoing of others, fancied or real, had power to actually kill. How could we escape? We saw that these resentments must be mastered, but how? We could not wish them away any more than alcohol. This was our course. We realized that the people who wronged us were perhaps spiritually sick. Though we did not like their symptoms and the way they disturbed us, they, like ourselves, were sick too. We asked God to help us show them the same tolerance, pity, and patience that we would cheerfully grant a sick friend. When a person offended, we said to ourselves, "This is a sick man. How can I be helpful to him? God, save me from being angry. Thy will be done." When people hurt me, you guys, and they go out of their way to be evil or rude or mean to me, I think to myself, this isn't about me. This person is sick. You know, I'm telling you guys, and I have to think that way, because if I don't, it'll drive me insane focusing on them. If you can just start showing people care and concern and trying to pray for them, and you know what? Thinking of them as someone who is sick and struggling. Nate, get off of me. It will change your life, y'all. I'm telling you, it will change your life. Because, here, Nate, get off me, please. I'm telling you right now. Instead of, like, just going around and around and around in your head, you know, it helps. This is a sick person. Let me show them tolerance and pity and patience, you know. We avoid retaliation or argument. We wouldn't treat sick people that way. If we do, we destroy our chance of being helpful. We cannot be helpful to all people, but at least God will show us how to take a kindly and tolerant view of each and every one. Referring to our list again, putting out of our minds the wrongs others had done, we resolutely looked for our own mistakes. Where had we been selfish, dishonest, self-seeking, and frightened? This is where we look in ourselves. Remember, you guys, like, I can take a look at myself today, and that's because I've learned through this program to be able to do that, you guys. Like, when people point something out to me that they think that I need to work on, even if it's them just trying to be mean and hurt me, like, I can look at me today, you know, because of this program. This program has taught me to be able to do that, and I'm so grateful, because I'm telling you guys, living in that whole state of mind when you're in drug addiction and you're just like, I want, I gotta change the way I feel. I'm a gangster. I'm gonna hurt and harm, you know, like I'm criminal, blah, blah, blah. All that's not conducive. It doesn't help you. It doesn't, living in a state of negativity all the time and and being mad at others and wanting to hurt them or make them upset or talking bad about them behind their back, and it's not doing anything but hurting you. I'll tell you this, and that's what I have to remind myself. When somebody's talking about me or bashing me and my parenting skills and the way I am with my son behind my back, you guys, I have to look at that and realize that's not even about me. Like, I'm doing negativity. I don't have any room for it in my life anymore. Like, I'm really, like, all I want is you guys who are here who want to change. Those are the kind of people that I want in my life today. I want the kind of people in my life today that want to change and be better. And you know what? I can take a look at me, and it's because of the program of Alcoholics Anonymous. It has changed my life, you guys. Like, going through the steps with my sponsor multiple times has changed my life. Writing down resentments and who I resent and resenting myself, and then writing down why, and then breaking it down and seeing, okay, hey, you know, this person did this to me, but I also did this. Because I always have to look and find my part in it. And I never thought I had any kind of part in starting anything. I always thought I was right. And today, I can see where I have a part in things. And I can own my part today. And that's a huge, huge step in the right direction. Though a situation had not been entirely our fault, we tried to disregard the other person involved entirely. Where were we to blame? The inventory was ours, not the other man's. When we saw our faults, we listed them. We placed them before us in black and white. We admitted our wrongs honestly and were willing to set these matters straight. Nate, stop. Notice that the word fear is bracketed alongside the difficulties with Mr. Brown and Mrs. Jones, the employer and the wife. This short word somehow touches about every aspect of our lives. Fear, you guys. 9 times out of 10, when I am upset about something, it's because I'm afraid. And I've also learned that from this program, that a lot of the times when I'm angry, if I'll go back and I'll look, if I really look at why I'm angry, it's because I'm afraid of losing something. If every single time it comes to fear, you guys. And I want you guys to start looking at things when if you have an argument with somebody, or your husband comes home and you guys have an argument and you're mad about something and you pop off and you're like, I'm mad. I want you to really look at it. Are you mad, or are you afraid that he's going to relapse? Or are you afraid that you're going to get fired from your job? Or are you afraid that your kids aren't going to do well in school? Like, for me, it's always about fear. Notice the word fear. Okay, This short word somehow touches about every aspect of our lives. It was an evil and corroding thread. The fabric of our existence was shot through with fear. It set in motion trains of circumstances which brought us misfortune we felt we didn't deserve. But did not we ourselves set the ball rolling? Sometimes we think fear ought to be classed with stealing. It seems to cause more trouble. We reviewed our fears thoroughly. We put them on paper, even though we had no resentment in connection with them. We asked ourselves why we had them. Wasn't it because self-reliance failed us? Self-reliance was good as far as it went, but it didn't go far enough. Some of us once had great self-confidence, but it didn't fully solve the fear problem or any other. When it made us cocky, it was worse. Perhaps there is a better way, we think. For we are now on a different basis, the basis of trusting and relying upon God. We trust infinite God rather than our finite selves. We are in the world to play the role He assigns, just to the extent that we do as we think He would have us, and humbly rely on Him. Does He enable us to match calamity with serenity? I love that saying. He helps us we can find serenity in chaos, in the worst situation. You know why? Because we're not getting high today. Because we're not getting drunk today. Today, shit could be hitting the fan, but you know what? I'm free today. I'm at peace. I have my life today. So you know what? Let the drama ensue. You know what? I'm sober today and I'm doing me. I'm living my best life. And that's a miracle. We never apologize to anyone for depending upon our Creator. We can laugh at those who think spirituality is a way of weakness. Paradoxically, it is the way of strength. The verdict of the ages is that faith means courage. All men of faith have courage. They trust their God. We never apologize for God. Instead, we let Him demonstrate through us what He can do. We ask Him to remove our fear and direct our attention to what He would have us to do. At once, we commence to outgrow fear. So, when you go through your 5th step, which is the part where you share your 4th step with your sponsor, and you ask him to remove your shortcomings and that fear and your character defects and to help you change them and do better in life, right? Motto now, where you go find yourself, their meaning, find something to be happy about, a lesson to be learned, and your place in... Yay, Nick! I'm so glad you're here with us doing this because this is so good, you guys. I love reading with you guys. This makes me so happy. Okay, so this is okay, we're going to stop there because now the next part of our step 4 is the sex part where we do our sex inventory. Okay, you guys? So let me just read what you said. It's on page 69 too. Now about sex. Many of us needed an overhauling there. But above all, we tried to be sensible on this question. It is so easy to get off track. Here we find human opinions running to extremes, absurd extremes perhaps. So a sex inventory is what, because we're doing our whole inventory. That's what a step 4 is, okay guys? So tomorrow we'll do we'll talk about our sex inventory. And if you guys have ever done the steps, but if you haven't, what they'll tell you to do is to make amends wherever possible, except when to do so would injure yourself or others, hurt yourself or others. And a lot of the times, like if a husband and wife were in active addiction together and they were both, committed adultery and they both had that on their amends, their sponsor will say, you've come clean to me about that and we've come clean to God, but we don't need to say anything to your husband about it, because what that does, you guys, is it's just going to hurt him. We're making amends and we're talking to our higher power about it and we're turning it over to him. And do you see what I'm saying? Or for instance, like a lot of times I've heard of sponsors telling their sponsees, yeah, so that's what we're going to talk about next, because with sex, you guys, it's really different because we all have different, we all have different things that we call acceptable sex, okay? So, for instance, I'm a straight woman, so acceptable sex to me is between me and my husband. But when I made my my inventory, I had to write down all the things I did in my active addiction in coordinates with sex. So I had to write down things that I did with other men to get drugs. I had to do things that, I wrote down a lot of things and I shared those things with my sponsor because I needed to get that shit out of me, because that shit was making me have so much shame, and shame is not good. It keeps you sick. So we're going to talk let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about sex. That's what we're going to talk about tomorrow night. So, yeah, it's going to get real tomorrow night because I'm going to share some stuff with you guys. So, if you're a baby and you don't want to hear about that kind of stuff, don't tune in tomorrow night because it's fixing to get real. But, yeah, we'll talk about that. And, I was so worried, you guys, when I was doing my 4th step with my sponsor, that I was going to tell her these things and she was going to think I was just the biggest hoe, right? And My sponsor is 65. I remember when I was telling her all these things, and she was like, I've done that. And I was like, so we all have done things that we're not proud of, you know, and doing a fourth and fifth step with your sponsor is a way for you to get that stuff up out of you and get free, you know, and I hope that by me going and reading this stuff with you and kind of just doing an overview and explaining to you guys what the steps have done for me, I hope that will encourage you and inspire you to try to do them too and get a sponsor and go to some meetings. Because I'll tell you this, you guys, it's changed my life and it's really helped me to become a better person. And I'm really grateful for that. You know, I didn't never think I would be sober. I never thought I would be here today and be able to say that I hadn't shot up, you know, and that I was having a good life and that I felt good about me. And, you know, I think that's why, you know, I feel really good about myself today because I know I'm doing the right thing. And when you know you're doing the right thing and your intentions are good, it's like I don't worry about anything, you guys. I don't worry about anything. I don't have to worry about, you know, XYZ because XYZ. Because I know what I'm putting out into the world is goodness. So I don't have to worry about any bad, you know, any drama or badness come back to me. And if it ever does, because somebody, I still don't worry, you guys, because I'm telling you, I'm over here and my intentions are good and I'm always honest. I don't lie about stuff. Like, I don't have to today because I'm not trying to make people like me. I'm not trying to win people over today. You know what I mean? Today, I feel good about me. And it's because of the 12 steps. It's because of working with my sponsor. And it's because God. You know, I don't talk about God a lot on my channel because I don't want to offend anybody. But God say miracles. Miracles are the only way I can explain it to you. You know, I shouldn't even be here. I shouldn't even be alive. I was spared and I was put on this earth for a reason. You know, and that's why I'm sharing my story and my experience with you guys. Sometimes I get distracted from my purpose. But my purpose is to be here and to share with you guys where I was in my addiction and where I am today. Because it's nothing short of a miracle. And I'm so grateful for my second chance. So, I love you guys. And I'll see you guys tomorrow night at 7 p.m. for sex.